What are the different strategies? What are the tactics? And there's a lot of creativity in there, or like what's changing in the market, what tools are coming out, what's going on, and then a little bit of the drama, I guess. If you're in that up market, you're probably going to want to look at other channels, maybe calls or LinkedIn, use the connections you have. Now, if you're in the down market, it can be even better right now because, there's less people there, but you got to have a good distribution.
Welcome back to Unfuck My Startup. I'm not going to get into introducing our very prolific guest yet because we need to give all probably 500 people a chance to actually get in the webinar, which is just bananas. I'm excited to have Jesse here. He's the founder of Lead Magic, the founder of the SaaS Yacht Club, which is a selective founder community, and he's a top LinkedIn voice. And Jesse, dude, what is up? Thank you for joining.
Yeah, man, really excited to be here, and thanks for everything you've done for me too, obviously with helping me grow in this one, the bootstrap world.
Dude, yeah, every once in a while I get updates from Jesse, and I love it because the number's always higher. My businesses, unfortunately,
every day you roll in, you're looking at that chart.
Yeah, like my businesses have reached a point where like I always get housed in the first quarter and we go backwards sometimes, and it's so depressing. But like yours are always higher when you send me updates, and I fucking love that. And dude, give us the most recent update. Where are we at? Where's Lead Magic at?
You had it in your post too. We're around there. So we just cracked 1,000 customers. We're few people here. A couple of we're trying to keep a lean team. We have a very small 2-person engineering, both contract sort of folks, and I'm YOLOing a lot of this code out myself with Cursor and some of the other stuff, right? So I'm getting pretty dangerous there. We'll get more dangerous too. I mean, they're making it a lot easier for everybody. So if you're not into Lovable or Bolt or Cursor, you might want to go take a look. It's gotten a lot easier. So
Sean Pritchard, congrats. Let's fucking go. That's right. 1 full-time employee, Jesse, 2 contractors, 2.2 million ARR. That, my friends, is the way of the future. Pretty soon it's going to be same staff, 5 million ARR, right? As Jesse said to me yesterday, he's like, dude, it's all about making pro athlete money.
Yeah, that's like
that's where you gotta go,
like
man.
top draft pick, kind of. Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. So I'm gonna share the address for Charm right here in the chat. We're gonna put 2 minutes on the clock for you, Alex. We will also have this running poll, folks. With the running poll, it basically says yes or no. Would you buy? For some reason, every week, I don't know if this is like a joke, like 20 people will put no as soon as the thing starts. So the poll will be coming at the end to prevent the tricksters. I do want to say those people could also just be patient, wait till the end of the pitch. But hey, I know everyone's excited. We're going to wait till the end.
I appreciate the honest feedback either way.
Well, that early on, I don't know if it's honest feedback. I think it's like a prank they're trying to pull on us. But Charm.io, I dropped it into the chat. Alex, what's Charm.io all about? Why should these people use it?
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So what we do is we track and analyze every direct-to-consumer brand in the world, currently about 4.5 million brands worldwide across all product categories and countries. And the idea is to provide visibility to help retailers to make merchandising decisions, investors decide which brands to invest in, and B2B sales teams figure out which brands they should be selling their service or solution to. And so what we've done is we've aggregated every single brand in existence and enriched them with all different types of digital metrics, which we've then applied our machine learning models on top of to score every brand on their growth and success relative to their category. So you can select any types of criteria around the social performance of brands, the audience demographics of brands, like how, what is the age and gender distribution or location distribution of a brand, and everything about the products that a brand sells. Then filter based on that criteria to find the perfect brand for whatever it is you need, whether you're selling to brands or merchandising them or investing in them. Then once you found a brand, you could do a deep dive analysis on it. So let's say we wanted to look at Summer Fridays. We could see how fast is it growing relative to the beauty category, or how successful or big it is, what's driving its growth. In this case, it's online reseller distribution, its social channels, etc. And then do a deep dive on any of these in more detail. So how quickly it's growing its engagement on social, whether that's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We actually just launched audience demographics, so you can now see the age and gender distribution or location distribution. We work with a lot of 3PL customers, so this is super helpful for them to understand, where a brand's audience exists today, but where they may not be shipping to, and that could be a really effective value proposition for when they're reaching out to try to pitch their 3PL services to them. Understanding the product distribution, what price points the brand is sold at, who else is selling it, right? Look-alike brands. So let's say you have a great customer and you want to find others, and then ultimately also who you should be reaching out to get in touch with that brand. We sync all this data to your CRM, or you can export it, save to lists, and we basically provide full visibility to every brand in the world. So that's that.
Yeah. And at a much deeper level than a Zoom Info or an Apollo, you take that segment of e-commerce and you go as deep as possible from a data perspective. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Zoom Info is great if you sell to all different types of industries and you don't need to go very deep in terms of the metrics you need. Where we really excel is understanding the e-commerce landscape and going super, super deep there.
Courtney asked, is this only for e-commerce businesses? This is for people selling to e-commerce businesses. So if you are selling to e-commerce businesses, this is for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're getting a ton of yeses. We got
you're getting a ton of yeses despite the niche. So I think everybody wants it who would possibly have anything to do with the e-commerce world. Okay. Well, now look, even though you didn't get 66%, normally it's above 66%, you get a swag box, above 33% is t-shirt. We're giving you a swag box. Jesse, we're going to give you a swag box too.
Nice.
Have we given you a swag box yet? And by the way, now's the magic. Okay. Who wants a demo? Type in demo. Let's go, baby. Oh yeah. What's the pricing model?
So we sell based on how many brand credits you need on a monthly basis. So small customers, they need just a small amount of credits. They only want to reach out to a small number of leads on a monthly basis. Others, want the whole database basically.
Dude, yes. We're getting you lots of demos here. Lots of demos.
So am I supposed to furiously type every single person's name here, or how does this work?
You can either drop your calendar link in, and then what I would do is I would just like,
there you go.
Yeah, drop your calendar. Oh wait, somebody dropped a book a demo link in.
I did.
No, that's not good.
Oh, that was
all
Sarah.
Right, dude. How did this not get a 100%? It's bloody amazing.
Good.
That's pretty good.
I love you,
man. That's more enthusiastic than anyone's ever been about anything I've ever built.
So, folks, Sarah Kimball, Alex, and myself all dropped calendar links. It's the same link. We just did it because it'll get buried. So click any one of those three. It's the same link. Book some time on their calendar. And Alex, I'll connect with you after the show and send you a code for a swag box. Thank you a ton for coming up.
And Alex, I'm looking at 13 demos. So if it comes up less than that, then maybe just like scrape the comments and make sure, figure out.
You know
what I mean?
I'm sure Sarah's on here copying people's names.
Okay.
She's a rock star.
Alex, thank you very much for being a part of the Pitch Slap. Badass product. We've been happy customers for many years.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Alex. All right. Let's get into the show, Jesse. Before we went live, you were telling me kind of a little bit of a genesis story of Lead Magic. So my first question here is, I guess, before we get into that story, everyone's saying cold email's dead. Is cold email dead?
No, I mean, it'll die for some people, though. I do think it will die for some people. There's definitely going to be some doubts out there, and it should have died much earlier, actually. But it's probably they got a gift because it's still alive.
Yeah, I think the barrier to entry to send 100,000 emails a day has become so low that now our inboxes, Fixer, who's a company we actually had their founders on, their whole business is around eliminating those emails from people's inboxes. So that's how bad it's gotten. But how's it changed? You were telling me you were trying to overhaul a large company's email infrastructure, their tactics. Why don't you tell us the story?
I was just running. I ran sales strategy for one of my buddies, Andrew. I think he's even on the call. But basically, we were having some problems with the email, and it was we were using Outreach, at the time. This was like years ago, right? Like 4 years ago about. And what happened was I found a couple of problems with it, and I was trying to, I didn't want to put the email signature on because it was gonna, you see these email signatures come through, and you're like, that thing's not going to get through any spam filters, right? They'd have pictures of their kids or whatever, whatever weird things are on there. But so I ended up doing that. I said I wouldn't put it on, and they fired me for it. But then they realized it was like a big problem for the company. But either way, it wasn't going to be a fit anyways for me. But it was kind of pre-COVID. Everyone was going crazy when it hit. So, but that's what happened basically. So that's where I said, hey, I'm going to go start something here with an agency that sort of helps people generate leads. Do that. That's where I was skilled, and then obviously agency to SaaS was the move.
So I want to talk about kind of what is working today for the customers, clients of Lead Magic, whether that's on the agency or the software side. You had shared this awesome cheat sheet on LinkedIn, which I'm going to share with everybody. Don't worry, we're going to go through it. It's so in depth that we won't be able to go through every single thing on there, but let's talk some like top kind of some main principles that people can follow, because my belief here is cold email is not working for most people, not because of the infrastructure, but because of the message that they're sending. Now, you have to land in the inbox, that's for sure. But what are some principles people can follow? Maybe we start with like subject lines. Like what's a basic principle
the biggest thing, I mean, right now, if you're emailing people that are in, like if you're a smaller-ish company or mid-market company and you're emailing, if you have 150 employees or under, and you're emailing a company that has security firewalls, they've got Mimecast, they got Proofpoint, they got all these like AI destroying, you're not going to make it through. I mean, let's just put it that way. Like the amount of effort and infrastructure and investment you're going to have to do that. And when I say not make it through, you're going to have like with the sequencer sending 150, 200 emails a day, you're going to start getting it's going to get harder there. The high end of the market, the Fortune, every one of them has a very sophisticated security model. It's their number one attack vector. So they can't even show people the emails now, right? Like they have to block everything. So if it's not plain text, don't even try with even the open pick, like nothing. Just go in with that, and then the message is next. But starting there, your audience, if you're targeting that very upmarket, and you don't have very relevant, like super relevant for that person right then and there, and you're sending it at any sort of volume, you're probably just going to get blocked at all those companies, right? It's just not going to happen. So there's just too much. They're too good.
Can I, I'm thinking about this story I had a founder reach out to me about this app that she described and I just didn't understand it. And she's like, no one's responding to my cold outreach. I set up Apollo and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, what are you sending? And I'm like, okay, I'm not in real estate, but like, I'm trying to imagine that I was, and like nothing about this email is making me stop what I am doing right now and engage with the email. Right. Yeah, like that I think it's like, dude, like unless you have something that you are sending that will stop someone in their tracks and say, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and go check that out, don't even fucking bother.
Yeah. Right? Especially if it's in that upmarket, like what's changed in the last, because if you have an investment on the IT side, right? Even fewer companies even have an IT department now, right? But if they actually have one, and if you go to even go to Reddit, like look at the IT groups there, the entire conversation is all about how spam issues they're blocking, right? This is like their entire job. And then they have, multi-million-dollar tools. And the second one of those tools sees you get something out there, it's going to phone home. It's going to tell everybody about you, right? And all of their enterprises, it's going to phone home. It's going to call everybody. It's going to say, don't take any more emails from this domain. Now, you can burn the domains. You can do whatever games you want to play there. But if you're in that up market, you're probably going to want to look at other channels, maybe calls or maybe LinkedIn, use the connections you have. But it's that really, really up market that's really getting crushed. Now, if you're in the down market, it can be even better right now because there's less people there, but you got to have a good distribution. You got to have like a wider net to cast on email right now. And it's working very well for certain people. That's why you're seeing like, it's working for me. It's not working for me. A lot of the times it can be summed up as how technical is the audience you're emailing, which if they understand how to click the report as spam button, that's number one. And number two, it comes down to how big is the company and what's their spam filters, right? Like those are the big, then it goes to everything else, copy, relevance, are you putting clay tables together for these people? Things like that. Like, okay, cool. That's like the next level, but the first two are going to outweigh anything else.
Okay, can we ask a technical question? What
Yeah.
is, just for purely definitional purposes, what are you defining as upmarket and downmarket?
So I'd say it's anybody with a if they can afford a $50,000 a year software to protect their email, that's probably upmarket now. And what I mean by that is like, I'm not talking like the Google settings or like the default Office. I'm talking like Mimecast, Barracuda. They're using like services like that. Very, very difficult to inbox consistently, right? It's going to get even harder, but it's clearly it's a time where you got to send less to that group, but maybe more to, you got to figure out your market. If that's the channel you do, you might want to like choose a different ICP. So it's high tech finance that are going to be probably smaller, but if they have any like healthcare, insurance, like stuff like that, it's going to get really hard. The ones you'd want to go after now probably would be your, maybe these crazy SaaS founders who are bootstrapped have no time to go buy, or bootstrapped or just raised a round of funding. They have no time to go buy spam filtering services, so they read everything, when they're scrolling on the phone.
And I'm going to go to Apollo and I'm going to search for prospects that have no fingers to click the spam button too.
And that's where we're starting
I think
to go,
Charm has
right?
that filter.
Like, getting harder to describe who's the right person for it.
So there's a couple questions in the chat, like people asking like, what's the best tool for evaluating the spamminess of my emails? I've used Mail Tester in the past. Are there ones that you found to be super reliable, maybe free options for people?
Yeah, the best tool is if you have a friend who works at a really, really big company, and you could send them a couple emails and see if they get coming cold. Like that actually is it's a weird one, but like that actually works pretty well. But I mean, at least basically what's happening is you're getting blocked at like a domain level, right? So it comes down to the domain. I mean, I guess IP and domain, but for all intents and purposes, if you're sending from Google or Microsoft, you're probably going to be on, it's just the domain, right? Because everybody has the same, at least initially, everybody has the same IP or domain IP address. So then you go down to the domain, and then it's like, well, how many people? The first thing they ask is how new is it, which doesn't go well with everybody, right? That's the first.
No.
That's the next shoe to
It
drop.
needs to be what, like at least. I mean, I know the principle is like it should be active and being warmed up for at least 3 weeks. Does that change?
Yeah.
Should
Well, I
people
mean, yeah,
buy a
that's
year
a
ahead
good
of time?
number. It's just what can also happen is like it's not even that even as much as it is what is it? I mean, that helps it, right? But it's like, well, what hurts it, right? It's like you could be a really good person and then you go out and do something really stupid and get arrested for it and do whatever, right? Like you're probably not going to get looked at very easily again, right? So you probably need more domains, right? You're gonna need to send fewer emails per inbox, maybe 25, 30, right? It's the number's just going to keep going down, at least depending on who you're emailing. So if you're a cold email agency, take clients that have less technical people to email and they have a wider distribution net, right? And they're less likely to click report as spam, which is the other one.
I think so all of that is like fantastic infrastructure. I think it has to be done today for all the reasons you just described, Jesse. The cybersecurity and IT is just it's really a cat and mouse game. But let's start to talk like, okay, let's say people get through to the inbox, they set up their infrastructure well. By the way, I also want to just point out another thing that will help your domains last a while is not sending a ton of emails to people who are not going to care about your service. So just being a little more targeted. You should do that anyway, but if you needed another reason, you got one. But let's talk like, okay, now people get into a message, the message itself. I also want to say, I think these principles you're going to talk about don't just apply to cold email. I think they apply to brand messaging across domains. I know subject lines. I'd seen a post from you. I'll drop a link in here. You said keep it to 3 words max, keep it super short. But getting into the body, I get a ton of emails where there's just like 10 things they're trying to sell to me, right? They're trying to tell me a whole long story. Do you have some guidelines on, maybe the
Yeah.
number of benefits or how that offer should be articulated within the message itself?
It's weird. It's weird that like it all of it is the answer will always come down to depends, but it like where I think you got to go with it is like if you're going to test something, you're going to test a market, you're going to do a growth test or whatever. What you're going to want to do is you got to kind of figure out early, are we going to go and try to be very relevant to everybody one to one? Are we going to build and invest the time and money that it's going to take to build sort of the clay tables and the different, you know, enrichment strategies or AI, doing some of the things even Eric talks about? Are we going to do that? Or are we just going to go out there and try to get people to see who we are, right? Now, I think if you're in the down market, you're selling $10,000 a year software to up to maybe, or under, or you're selling something under $50,000 a year, and there's a lot of businesses that you can call on. Okay, maybe you can take the approach where you're not investing a ton of time and doing the relevant stuff. If you're going up market though, and you start to get any reported spam, it really comes down to that. It's that one button and look, people are busy. They don't have time to click report as spam, right? But if you click that, like that thing is so toxic for like the numbers they're looking for on that is like 1 or 2 on like no more normal people don't get their emails reported as spam, right? Like if your email gets reported as spam, it's just so tragic for the health of that inbox continuing to send emails. And it's not the inbox, it's the domain. So if you work at a company that's a small company and you have an SDR that's doing this, like you could really do some damage there early on, right? So you have to be smart about it. Alternative domains, of course, and I mean, just that's what I would do. I mean, you got to just be careful on that report as spam. If you can prevent that from happening, like the subject lines and all that other stuff sort of kind of will fall into place if you do that.
Yeah, is this so? I remember years ago when I was working in email marketing, the sort of threshold to stay under was like you wanted to be under one spam complaint per 1,000 sends. Has that changed? Has it gotten more strict, or
No,
is that still the?
The terrible thing about sending to not really you can't really tell what it is right now because they don't really expose it to you, right? They give you some it's getting better. I mean, I've been watching to see when they actually do tell you more, right? It's not like your normal mail providers. Like when you use Google and Microsoft, generally speaking, you have no idea, right? The only thing you can really use, and that's why open tracking wasn't really a point, but the only thing you can really use is the reply rate, right? As a guide. And that is loose because depending on what you send, you could have, it's like a polarizing email. Maybe you're getting 5 people to report it, 5 people that love it. Like you got to be careful there in some of the numbers, but it really comes down to, are people replying? Are you engaging them in something? Are they going to your website? I have seen some people have success on just driving SEO traffic, right? They're going to go to Google, look for your brand, probably click it. If you send a lot of emails, I'm sure, when our B2B was doing even more emails, I'm sure there was a huge uptick in organic traffic, which does help, right? Like that does help, especially if you have high converting landing pages and things like that. But a lot of the times you'll see companies that don't have any of that stuff and they're looking for the quick fix. That's probably who it stops working for.
Yeah, and so it's just we're gonna do our unfuck my startup section in just a second. I'll do a little recap of section 1, folks. If you would like to come up for the unfuck my startup section, by folks I mean you, the audience. So audience, if you want to come up for unfuck my startup, let's keep it. I would love to have somebody up whose email campaigns are just totally blasted. Like they can, for the life of them, get somebody to respond, or maybe it's 1 per 100,000 sends, or just something crazy. Raise your hand. Joel said, pick me. And SaaS Founder just launched CRM sequence. Yeah, that could be cool. All right, let's pick Joel. And Vadim, we can grab you next week. Just raise your hand again. But so we'll start this section in 1 minute. This segment.
And by the way, can we answer David DiRomero's question? Do pixels in the email tracking read negatively impact deliverability?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It depends on the reputation of where that host is, right? So there's probably an argument that certain cases it could be positive, but I don't think so. I mean, I can't think of a case where it'd be positive. at all. So that's why, and it also triggers another problem where if you do that, they put the report as spam button higher in the email now. The Gmail UI changed, and what they do now is they put, and you can obviously hack it and change the CSS and hide it, but like still at that point you're like not really getting anything, and you don't really know, and that's the problem. You don't really know. So at the end of it, probably no open tracking. Open tracking is not a good marketing emails. It's basically just don't. I wouldn't use open tracking. You're not going to get an accurate number. These companies cost a lot of money, and they know how to fake. They can click on your. They know very well how to make it look like they opened it but didn't. And your sequence provider, there's no way they're investing the amount of time that they need to figure out if they actually opened that email or not. There's just no way they're going to figure
That's
it
why
out.
there's on every campaign there's somebody who opened that email 300 times.
They love throwing those. They gray list you. They shadow ban you, right? They tell you that that's what it is. It's a shadow ban, right? That's what life's about.
Life is about shadow bans.
You know what I'm talking about, Adam. We don't have to
Oh
talk
man,
about
I've been shadow banned.
it. I know you.
Like last week, I got 200,000 impressions on one post. Now I got 7,000. What happened? Who did I
Only
piss
your
off
emotions
at?
weren't tied to that,
Yeah,
right?
who did I piss off at LinkedIn with what I wrote? Man.
Even I've got, well, I don't want to say it's shadow banned. It was, they thought I was doing automation, but I was just trying to count our UGC posts every 15 minutes. Anyway, let's get into the segment. By the way, guys, we have our first sponsor. I don't know if you knew this. I actually didn't tell Adam. The segment is brought to you by RB2B Insiders. This is basically, if you're a SaaS founder, you're banging your head against the wall with growth, this is the community for you. It's a community run by us for folks just like us, bootstrap founders building lean, profitable businesses. Couple things. We do a lot of stuff in there. Every Friday, we do a live event. Last week, we were literally going through people's email copy, tearing it down, pointing out why it wasn't working. Literally everybody had a completely new sequence by the time they left that event. We do it every Friday. This week, we're actually tackling sales decks. Cold outreach is great, but you got to fill the funnel. But if your close rate is somewhere under, 65%, something is probably off. You can come out, hang with us in the live event in the community this Friday, see what works, what doesn't. We'll give you feedback to help you try out and figure out what the heck is going on in RB2B Insiders. We're actually giving away a course for free today. Based on the conversation we're having, I want everybody to go and insiders.rb2b.com. Right here, insiders.rb2b.com. And you can hop in, check out lesson 3 of the 0 to 1 Secrets course. All the courses are up there for you. But that module specifically has a ton of great info on breaking down the core pillars of great messaging, covers outreach messages, sales decks, all that stuff. If instead of that, you would prefer to just hop on the phone with me and see what the heck Insiders is, drop Insiders into the chat. I'll reach out to you. I'll shoot you an email with a calendar link, and we'll chat, see if it's a good fit for you.
Yeah. By the way, for what it's worth, I'm on these Friday calls doing these teardowns. That's a value add.
And we'll usually grab a special guest too. Nice. Insiders. Heck yeah. Also, if you finish the course, if you go in there and do lesson 3 of the 0 to 1 Secrets course, we'll give you these mugs. We try to drop them on LinkedIn, and
we got shadow banned.
You're getting shadow banned for that one.
Yeah, they're like, dude, you can't do it
right now. Cheat sheets is all the vibe right now.
Yeah, they're like, bro, you can't put a Mr. Beast lookalike photo on LinkedIn. That's YouTube shit. No dice. Nobody gets the mugs.
No dice. No bueno.
So insiders.rb2b.com. I just dropped it in there. Is Joel in here? What's up, Joel?
Yeah, Joel, what is popping, my man?
Hey guys. Hey.
Where are you calling out of to start?
I'm based in Austin, Texas.
Oh, my man.
There we go.
What is up?
Adam, get this guy tacos.
Yeah. Got to send you some tacos. But how far where are you in Austin?
I'm over like northeast Austin, near Mueller. If you're familiar with that, obviously.
I'm in Clarksville, like between Terrytown and downtown. So
nice.
No traffic, 10 minutes.
Hey.
Traffic, 20.
Hey, awesome. So do you guys want me to go into my pitch on the platform? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, tell us what it does for maybe a minute, and then how you're stuck. Like what are you stuck with? Is it, especially if in the cold outreach game, you got Jesse here, so just so you can make the most out of that. But yeah, give us tell us what's going on.
Oh, okay. So I started this company a few years ago when I was at actually Indeed, and the problem I saw was we were paying a vendor about $10,000 a month that we actually never implemented. And by the time I figured it out, we had paid them almost $100,000 to a vendor we actually never used. And it kind of set me down on the path of, how do people actually manage different vendor contracts? And it turns out it's a really fragmented space. So as a company scales up, they're adding, some are adding, hundreds of SaaS tools every year. And they end up finding that a lot of them go inactive. Percent of all software spend is actually gone and wasted. That's according to Gartner. And so we built a software solution for that. So it's a no tech, like tech lift for the companies to use. We integrate with their SSO, their G Suite. If they have Azure or Outlook, we integrate with all of that. So we can see full SaaS visibility of what the company is using. Then we ingest all their contract data, parse it out into like an Excel-like view, so they don't ever miss a renewal. They can see actual utilization by vendor. We even can do price intelligence, so we can tell you if you're getting a good deal or not. What we sell into is mostly the staffing space, actually. Our first customer came from Reddit, a CTO of like a PE staffing firm, and that became our niche. We also sell to accounting firms. And where I'm stuck now as a founder is primarily getting more demos, selling the software solution. We have about like a 10x ROI, so it's a good value prop. But as you guys can imagine, every company is pitching cost savings. Our platform really doesn't, and we have proof for that. It's just getting that address in front of like a CTO can be challenging. I'm happy to pull up my screen and actually show you my email copy or my sequence, or if you guys have questions on them, however you guys want to take it.
Let's see some copy. What do you think?
Yeah, let's see some copy. Let's see some copy. Dude,
Okay,
let's let the master, Jesse, unfuck your email copy.
By the way, Joel, I my previous business, I was pitching, was doing sales and pitching and marketing, just pitching the heck out of cost savings. So I empathize with the challenge of selling that as a value proposition. But they got millions in ARR bootstrapped. So, hey, you can do it too.
Did you say CFO or CTO? I was wondering, are you competing with like a vendor, VENDR?
They actually, so they'd be more like an enterprise level solution. They actually turn away customers that have less than 300 employees. And for us, that's like a $10,000, $20,000 deal. And so we'll take that all day, if they're turning those folks away. So yes, and they also offer a little bit more, I would say, like full suite package. We offer like contract management, license management, and price intelligence, and like some automation around that. So a little bit more like focus.
I really like their new site of PSEO that they did. Like I really like that thing that they built. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's something you should think about. Where people are looking at the pricing and the comparison, they did a really nice job on it.
Yeah. Oh yes, absolutely. And we have a similar tool we have built in our platform. Theirs is obviously a little bit more bigger, but yeah, I agree. So this is my first email sequence. This should be going to like a CTO, CIO. If you guys can see my screen here, I use like the smart tag, so it's it's variable, so it's less likely to get flagged. And then most companies have over 100 SaaS vendors, or all of them in this list. And so I'm addressing some SaaS blow and then seeing if they're aware of it. And then I kind of go into like a soft pitch for a Loom video, not like a meeting or anything like that. And then social proof of a customer that, they might be familiar with, that we've been able to help out. But yeah, Jesse, I'll let you kind of.
Yeah. So what I'm reading right now, I kind of done so many of these that so this one you want to get out to as many, you're going to need volume because it's not going to convert very well. You're just going to get them to go to visit your website. And if they're interested, maybe. If you're going to get intent, or they're going to, maybe they get people that are on your website. That's like one group, obviously, with Adam and everything there. But the other one would be is if you took the change of their tech stack using like Crunchbase or something like that to figure out like what they had for SaaS tech that they had before and after, and maybe call that out. And I don't think I think you said the CTO. I don't think this is the CTO. I think you're going to want the CFO or like the finance people, right?
That's it. I guess interesting. The CFO seems to care more about obviously like cutting costs. CTO and CIO care about that too, but also maybe more on like
probably
a
could be either one. I mean, it's like the CTO who just got slapped for doing it, or the CFO. It's probably either one. You probably want to test that, but I'd say you're going to need something in here that's a little more relevant to that person. And I hate even saying that, but like, because then you get into this whole other world of like, does that really matter? But relevant here would be the signal you could use would be like, you just saw them increase their spend in, you could use like the Crunchbase. I'm thinking about the column right now, but basically they've increased their spend and they bought 6 extra tools this quarter or something that you've noticed, then maybe you could, or you've seen some information out there. There's review sites. There's a lot of, there's a lot of places you could go. Like if their company's leaving reviews on software or they're on case studies or they're in built with, whatever, now they got a higher spend, you could reference that. And this is something they might not be thinking about. Now you've got them a little more relevant. Right now, you're going to have to rely on volume, which makes it a lot harder. Right. You'd want to probably set up, if it's your whole company, then I would probably take the time to do it. You might want to, what I would do is I would go probably try to find, like you could definitely get like an idea of like what tools they had before and after and say, look, I see you're hiring a sales team. You're going to be investing a lot of money in tools. I'm sure, you just grew this much percent here, and you want to go you just increase your spend now 100, whatever that is. But like, there just doesn't seem to be an actual reason to reach out to them. You know what I mean?
I see. So like, what's the reason why we're getting in
The
front of them
target is a
today?
fit for your business, not for they're not like, you're basically reaching out on, it's called reaching out like on fit. Like, it's like they're a fit. Everybody's a fit because you want to build the biggest TAM ever, right? That's what VCs want and stuff. But the point is that the relevant to that person, like the person actually has the problem, they might not be thinking about it. They're going to take a little extra note that you looked at something and got relevant with it. That's what I would say. And I don't know if the soft CTAs they're okay. I just don't know. Like the people that buy stuff, I don't know. I might debate people on this, but I don't know. Like that video better convert somebody because you just wasted another whole cycle getting that video out to somebody. You know what I mean? Like if you got them, just get them.
I have two things to add. Number one, this sort of like using over 100 SaaS vendors and then you put the according to built with, that just screams to me that this is a sales email. The little one that like refers to them. I just don't think you need to say stuff like that. But if you're going the right, and by the way, I dropped some tech in here. It's called Sumble. This is like a Brendan Short favorite. That will also give you. It's just another way of giving you the built with information that they're doing it. It's like job postings or listing or something. But like, I love the idea of like you added all of this software. Like, were you even aware of that? Like, did you? It's not like it's not all going to be used, right? And then I always like an outreach to prompt somebody to reply to you. So it's like the CTA isn't like, do you want to book a demo? It's like, how do you get them to write something back? Like, I don't know how you feel about that, Jesse.
Yeah. So I think it's more of your sales motion. It's to get them to take a call with you, right?
Yeah, that would be
I think you could ask for a compensation, right? Like something relevant there. But I think what you got to work on, what'll make the most difference is in that beginning, the first 2 to 3 words, like it just starts to sound sales email and then they just ignore it if they've gotten into it. I think what you got to do is you got to look for something that's showing you that you're not just reaching out to everybody, right? Which is what everybody thinks about. And the signal is going to be they're hiring people. You're looking at a job description on like Lead Magic's job scraper or you're looking at like what text they're adopting in Sumble and Crunchbase or one of those. And then you use that information to actually, reach out to them. And you're just like, this is what the information I have. Like, and I wouldn't call out like you're using a data. You don't even need to call out the data provider. Just call out exactly what they're doing that they're not thinking about, and then just, go for it there. I think that's because it's just a message that they're going to have to look at. And then you want to have a backup plan on like maybe some ads, maybe brand ads on LinkedIn around your founder brand, some posting, the origin story, all that stuff that they should be seeing while you're emailing them is another real sort of thing you want to do. Especially as a founder.
I really appreciate that, Jesse. And I've got like a follow-up question for you. So I can see their technologies, like if they're using HubSpot and Salesforce, or let's say like HubSpot and MailChimp. And so I originally went down the path of like saying, hey, did you know that you guys are using both MailChimp and HubSpot? Like this is usually a signal for like SaaS bloat. It got really complicated at scale. Am I missing the point still for like what you said about like that like signal to
No, I
using?
mean you're there. I don't know if you need to go to that level. I would just say, you're hiring 10 reps. You've got Slack, and it's you're or not Slack, like some product that's maybe going to be like $150, $200 a seat, the old model.
Mhm.
Now you're hiring people. Have you thought about this sprawl problem you're going to have? Right. I mean, it's more like that really. And I would be, if you're going after the down market, which is like maybe like sub 50K deal, it sounded like vendors getting the up
Mhm.
market, go wide and send a lot of emails because you're gonna need to get the copy going, and you're gonna get a little bit more. But that's what I'd say is like using a signal, but then also coupling it with you're also hiring 6 people, and that's gonna mean this, and you're gonna spend a lot more. Have you thought about this? You're right. That could mean that or growth rate of the company, things like that are going to be important on this.
We're getting a lot of
Okay.
comments too in the chat about just CFO versus CIO, CTO. Just from past experience, I've tried to sell cost savings to companies before. When I tried to sell, or we tried to sell to the executive that was actually managing that specific piece of cost, which in this case was shipping costs, parcel shipping, I think it came off to them that like, hey, if I was to actually implement this at my company, it's going to expose that I've been doing a bad job, and letting these costs go wild. There was just our observation. It's also not the case with every single company. There are plenty of COOs that I had sold to, and operations people, but the finance people really would take lead on it and dive in further, whereas the other folks would actually become like blockers. Like we wanted
Probably the
input
IT person that It's probably the IT person that got tasked to go out and search what license management software is out there,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's usually
that's actually a real observation I've seen with one of the larger companies is like the CFO doesn't really trust the CTOs doing their job, and they're like kind of becoming the champion, which is really ironic because the CTO's team is the one who's going to end up using our tool. That's kind of interesting.
Can you make it so they can come in and use the product, and they can you can hook up to the OAuth and everything, and like they start to get something out of it, maybe give them a free, hey, connect in and find your bloat of whatever. Like that could be
Oh yeah.
that might be a better, because the videos don't, I mean, the video's got to be good to convert, right? Like, and you're going to have to deal with rebooking, and you're going to have to deal with all the logistics around that. It's just a pain because you got them right there. You might as well offer them the sale, right? Which is the conversation. That's where the videos, people get extra excited about these videos converting. And then they have to go chase the person down for like 6 weeks for no reason at all when they had them right there. If the person had the problem, they probably would have taken the call. So that's where I see some of those things failing too. But it depends on the campaign always. It always goes back to that.
Joel, I think you're about to have a much different campaign, my friend. So we thank you a ton for coming up, and thanks Jesse for all the real feedback. I like this like sharing thing. I don't know, fuck my startup. Let me know in the comments. I think it's a good format. I think it just provides a lot of great context too for the others that are watching. So love it, 100%. Fantastic. Thank you, folks. Well, Jesse, I want to get into something at the end here. By the way, there are Jesse has been sharing these cheat sheets on LinkedIn. They're so freaking good. There were 2 in particular that I just loved. One was his outbound email cheat sheet, and one was his prompt engineering cheat sheet. I'm going to share them on LinkedIn right after this. That way we don't have to hop around to different links. I think you guys have opened probably 100 tabs so far on this call. But yeah, I want to talk about a kind of a elusive founder community. I almost thought it was fake. I thought it was mythical, like this little unicorn that I hear about from people like Adam. It's called, well, why don't you tell us what it's called and why you started it and what the impact it's had on growing Lead Magic?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, at first I didn't realize it was just sort of a group of people that we had. We had a WhatsApp group, and it was mostly either like people employed or sort of looking to maybe become unemployed at some point, I guess is what it's boiled down to. But it's a group, it's a WhatsApp group, and it's really nothing more than that. Tried to keep it that way just for a lot of reasons, but there's been a lot of success out of there. So it's been around for about about 3 years, a little over 3 years. And there's just been some very interesting stories come out of there. Like, there's a lot of companies that have like mine being one of them that have come out of there. And a lot of it's been distribution. I mean, if you hear Varun, he talks a lot about reverse demos. He'll talk about it like that was like one of the groups that he's in. And there's just a lot of, it's really like a no BS kind of what tools are you using kind of thing, but it's also more like what's working for you, what are the different strategies, what are the tactics, and there's a lot of creativity in there, and it also gives me a good understanding of the group or like what's changing in the market, what tools are coming out, like who's using what's going on, and then a little bit of the drama. I guess there's a little bit of that kind of in there. You get coupled on, but it's just been an active group, and I think it hasn't had a day where there isn't like 100 messages in there.
That's what I was about to say. I was trying to pull my phone up and be like, yeah, I haven't looked at this in 24 hours and there's like 149 messages.
It's hard to keep up with, but there's a lot in there, and it's all centered around, I think people do things for reasons, and you see a lot of groups out there and they're just like doing things for a certain reason. They say they're doing something, but listen, people do things to profit and make money, right? Now, if you can help a lot of people along the way, that's awesome too, right? And that's what I think has been the most genuine part of the group, is that the philosophy, the incentives align always in these situations. And it's even aligned more than I even thought. Like, I actually didn't think it would. I was getting tired of it for a while. I was even thinking about closing it off a few times. I still am, but you always want to keep that going. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of, and we're talking Clay, Smart Lead, like there's been a lot of there. And then there's a lot of other people like Eric and, I'd say Eric and then Max over at Trigify. Some other people that have kind of sort of started in that group, and, they've grown pretty large. And there's other ones, Taylor, your email, Taylor started in there, right?
Yep, for sure.
We'll have Taylor on, I think next month after, but he's great.
And it's everybody. It's CROs. There's a lot of CEOs, VCs in there. There's a lot of people building businesses really, and it's great because it's efficient, and the model is a cost-effective model. Everybody wants that.
That's awesome. Lastly, I want to talk about something that you talk about quite a bit on LinkedIn, and I know a ton of people are going to come in here and follow. But the people are asking, how do we join community? Just pop into Insiders, make a free account. I'll shoot you a message after that. Just click that link, make a free account. You can see the courses. We'll go from there. What was I saying? Oh, yes, prompt engineering. I want to share this cheat sheet and by the way, I'll share this on LinkedIn afterwards. If you go to Jesse's profile, you will find it super quickly. I think this is the one. So you're a huge proponent of LinkedIn, or excuse me, on LinkedIn of AI. Why don't you I know there's a lot of people out there who feel like they are behind when it comes to AI. They feel like, maybe they've asked ChatGPT for some recipes or whatever, but like they just feel from a productivity standpoint, they're a little bit behind the curve.
Yeah.
I don't believe
this is a good place to start, because what I'm seeing is like, and if you see people that are on LinkedIn that have prompts and they're like, hey, here's a lot of them are just, I've like questioned some of them like that's not even that good. But there's a strategy for how you can prompt AI and do it. What's really important, and look, some of the new models that they have coming out, like the O3 and all of that, the biggest thing that they've realized is like the step-by-step reasoning is what really differentiates it. And then adding in like, there's strategies, and this isn't technical either. This is like, plain natural language, right? So like if you're doing if you're prompting for something, if you employ some of these strategies, and I put out a guide, and I put out actually a microsite with it, prompt guide. I'll even put it in the chat. But basically, if you do these prompts the right way, you can get a lot more out of the LLM, right? The language model, and it can be incredibly valuable. And for me, it's meant really like, I mean, I don't have any. Like, I have like 2 developers on our team, and we have a very small team, and our marketing is the same way. Like, everything is really done with AI. Like, I'm coding with AI, right? Like it's coming out that way, and it starts with prompting. Really, it's really the first part of it. It quickly goes into the tools, but I mean, if you can get good at the prompting, you can do any sort of like. There's a major difference between somebody who knows how to do a reasoning action prompt versus somebody who doesn't with AI, right? They're going to get a lot more out of it. So I'd encourage you to do it. And I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this, at least on LinkedIn. It's been a little bit dry there. So that's why I put it out there, but it's definitely a signal through the noise here.
Well, everyone go to Jesse's his LinkedIn. I'm going to share the link right here. We're going to share a couple of links. So pop over to Jesse. I think the most recent posts, two of the most recent three that you shared are guides on these things, which are just so fantastic. So let's pop Jesse's LinkedIn into the chat here. Everybody go follow along on Jesse. And one other thing I want to remember to say. So Adam and I are starting a new show. It's a new recorded show, so you won't be able to join live, but you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. Hopefully it'll be a better recorded show. This is a great live show. Anyway, point is, we still want to have some sort of audience interaction here. We want to hear more stories from you guys, the audience, and when I say stories, I mean successes, failures, crazy stories about entrepreneurship, whatever it might be. So we're going to drop a link in here where you can leave us a voice note, and then we can listen to it during the show and react to it, talk about your business and your story. Just another way to share what you guys, the audience, are working on, because we're just like you guys. We're just people trying to figure it out, grow businesses. So Ely, our video producer, just dropped a note in there. Leave us a voice note here, speakpipe.com. You'll see the link. You can click there, drop us a note, or that show will come out sometime in May. And next week,
Kevin
KD.
Dorsey. KD, right. Kevin Dorsey. Anybody know who Kevin Dorsey is? Let us know in the chat. Yep. Kevin Dorsey is like the OG sales influencer on LinkedIn, but that's not why he's a legend. He's a legend because like literally every word out of the guy's mouth is like just like quotable, repeatable value. So
he knows his stuff, man. He knows his stuff. He's
dude, it's really so good. He just has like anything about sales. You ask him about like how to sell, how to hire, how to train, how to, go from like 0 to 1 with sales. It's like he's got a framework for everything on the tip of his tongue. It's unbelievable. So
it's going to be great.
Yeah,
we love those. Someone said, any relation to Jack Dorsey? I'm guessing absolutely not. I just remembered too, I had a dream last night. Jack Dorsey was a cashier, and I was like trying to pay him at the grocery store. And I was like, he was like, we can't accept that. And I kept, instead of handing him money, I was handing him like cups and scissors and like random shit. Anyway, that's what was going on in my mind last night. Look at that. Bringing some comedy here. He wanted crypto. So that is good stuff. Jesse, you were the freaking man. We got to have you back. Thank you so much for joining.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
If you want to get higher response rates, you got to get in the inbox first. Guess what? I always tell people this. If my abuelita, messages me or emails me, I'm going to open that email. I don't give a shit what the subject line is, right? Most people that you talk to about cold email today will say cold email sucks. It doesn't work. And I go, really? The subject line is the most important part of the email? No, it's not. It's actually getting the email in the inbox. The second most important part of the email